In the past 14 years of traveling around the world full time, I haven't run into one serious problem or illness. I had a phone stolen in Brazil, almost flipped a car in Egypt, and saved a girl from being attacked in Ecuador. But other than that, I've been pretty lucky. That was until exactly 8 months ago, when a trip into the Amazon jungle changed everything, and for the first time made me fear for my life. And unfortunately, to date, as I record this voiceover and publish the video, I'm still not out of the clear yet. Let me explain.
Okay. I'll just do this here. Good morning. This video is not clickbait. I am currently at the San Diego airport en route to Washington, D.C. to check into the treatment program at the National Institute of Health. I'll explain a lot more throughout the day. Tomorrow, so I go tonight. Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place. I'm nervous and not really sure what to expect, but I wanted to document this. One, it's a call for help, to see if there's other people who've been through this, because it's been a nightmare trying to get in touch with people that understand this disease. And two, to maybe for those that I hope not, but sometime in the future come down with this disease, they have this video to connect with me, to show my experience. And the third reason, it's also me filming helps occupy my mind a little bit and stops me from just worrying. I think more about I need to get that shot, right? I should film this. So that's going to be part of the process as well. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is going to have some graphic images. So if you're a little queasy or you can't handle that kind of stuff, then don't watch this episode. I'm going to take you on this journey with me. But first, gotta go get on this flight. And I'm ready to find some answers and hope that everything will be okay.
While I fly to Washington, D.C., let me take you all the way back to where this all began. In March of this year, I had the opportunity to go into the Amazon jungle and experience the real life of a modern jungle tribe called the Sapara people. I was just starting my brand new Day in the Life series and new direction of this channel after a long soul-searching hiatus from YouTube to figure out what I wanted to do next. I realized that my love for travel was all based on the people that I met and moments that I get to share in their everyday lives. Impactful stories from interesting people. That was and is the new direction, and I was so excited to begin. I spent a beautiful week in the Amazon jungle and met some of the most amazing people. We ate together, drank together, bathed together, fished together. I felt the most alive I have on a trip in a long time. However, at some point during this life-affirming experience, I was attacked. And I had no idea when, how, or by what. And in the moment, I had no idea it ever happened. From the jungle, I flew directly from Ecuador to Vancouver and into the remote wilderness of British Columbia. Here I met up with some of the best wildlife photographers on the planet for a week-long mission to go track remote coastal wolves on the rugged western coast of Canada. Everything was going great. Well, everything except for the weather, of course.
It's a disaster. An absolute disaster. We gotta get back to camp.
From here, I came home to San Diego and continued to make plans for more Day in the Life episodes. But unfortunately, while I was getting back into the YouTube groove, something was growing on the back of my left calf. At that point, thought it was a bug bite. It doesn't look like much, right? Just wait. This is where the exhausting journey begins. I first have to find a primary care doctor here in San Diego and then schedule an appointment. And they have no idea what it is, so they give me a general antibiotic prescription and thought maybe it was a staph infection. No, that'll come later. The antibiotics did not help. 2 weeks later, I went to a dermatologist and was seen by a PA. She has no idea what it is either, so she injects me with a steroid, which didn't help. When I went back 10 days later for a follow-up, I asked to see the actual dermatologist. And he had no idea what it was, but this time he took a biopsy and sent it off for testing. And one test was sent directly to the CDC. About a week later, I get a call telling me the results are back from the CDC. And I'm told that I have something called leishmaniasis.
All right. Let me try to explain what leishmaniasis is based on the last 6 months of me battling with this personally. While in the Amazon jungle, I was bit by a sandfly. Well, actually bit twice by a sandfly. And this sandfly was carrying a flesh-eating parasite called leishmania. I was told that it is most likely to happen around fast-moving fresh water at dusk and dawn. Literally, the entire time I was there, we were around fresh water. I would bathe in the water, we'd go fishing, we would just hang out and do laundry by the water. So most of our days were spent around the water, and at some point, as I mentioned before, I don't know when this happened, but at some point I was bit by one of these sandflies multiple times on my legs. And these sandflies are a quarter of the size of a mosquito. Now, they're basically 3 forms of leishmaniasis. And the most common of the 3 is what I have right now, and that is cutaneous leishmaniasis. Basically, lesions or ulcers on your body from where you were bit, but they stay in the location. And the next level up is called Mucosal Leishmaniasis, and this attacks your nasal system, your mouth, and your throat. And for lack of a scientific term, it can basically melt your face. And the third level up is called Visceral Leishmaniasis, and this one, if left untreated in the most severe cases, can be fatal. This one attacks your organs. The concerning part of this is that cutaneous can transform into the more severe levels. So right now I have cutaneous leishmaniasis, and we are not 100% certain that it will not transform into something more severe. Which form of leishmaniasis you have is largely based on where in the world you were bitten. There's an old world and a new world variant, and then there's subspecies on top of that. So throughout Central and South America, there are a number of different variants. And I come to find out later that the variant that I contracted is the Brazilian variant, which is very, very aggressive. And it could possibly turn into a more severe case. And this is when the fear began.
A very simple search of leishmaniasis will scare the shit out of you. What's worse, there is no clear answer online that it's curable or any true conclusive information whatsoever. It is an under-researched, underfunded disease, simply because it isn't normal in the US. And unfortunately, that will change when the climate does, but that's a whole other story. The dermatologist referred me to an infectious disease doctor who had seen and treated this once before in his career. Someone with a much less aggressive species than mine who came back from a vacation in Costa Rica. This doctor spoke directly to the CDC on a treatment protocol, and they recommended I started taking a drug called miltefosine. Again, without knowing the specific species it was at the time. But I was told miltefosine was a solid, all-encompassing treatment. Now, the drug itself cost $50,000. Which inevitably began a battle with my insurance, and long story short, I reached back out to the CEO myself, and he was able to push it through. I received the prescription on July 7th, the same day I flew to Calgary for my Calgary Stampede project, which will come out next year.
All good, right? Now I'm on the road to recovery. Nope, not even close. This was only the beginning.
Truth is, from the date of the original biopsy, the pain worsened as the wound continued to open and grow. And both my infectious disease doctor and the CEO of the drug company told me to leave the wound open so it would dry out, which I find out much later was the exact opposite of what I should have been doing. When I asked for advice on dressing the open lesions, they would say to me, "Oh, it really doesn't matter." Turns out, it very much mattered.
You want to see it? You ready? This is a disclaimer. I just got out of the shower. Don't look if you're queasy. This is what it looks like behind my leg. Can you see that? Let me put that's what it looks like. Move that further away. That crazy? Pretty crazy.
The open lesion on my left leg ended up getting very infected. And there started to be satellite lesions all throughout my leg that were rising to the surface. And it was like a hard cable wire was wrapping up and going up my leg. And attached to this cable wire were these electric marbles that were very painful to the touch. I was scared that they were blood clots, so I went to the emergency room one night before a flight, and of course the ER doctor had no idea if this was just regular leishmaniasis or if this was an infection of leishmaniasis. And at this point, I can barely bend my leg. For 3 months, I couldn't shower, I couldn't sleep, and I couldn't cuddle comfortably. I'm still not there.
All right, this is the cleaning process that I have to do to 2 lesions every night. I guess if you guys were weak stomach, you were done watching by now. But this is how we get all the yucky bits out and try to clean it all off. This is the nice one. We'll do that one next. Oh, fuck you, bitch. Fuck. Why'd you do?
I was scared and in a lot of pain. And no one could tell me why. And that is infuriating and so frustrating and so demoralizing. And what's worse is the one person that I thought I was trusting, that first infectious disease doctor, had gone away on vacation for the summer. And so we were doing telehealth appointments, and I had to almost beg him to actually look at the wounds. And I was saying that there's something wrong with the wounds. And he was telling me, you're getting the best care possible. You just need to be patient. Tough to hear.
I think the treatment you're getting is adequate, but if you're anxious and you want a second opinion, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, so, I just need to know. Yeah, I just need to know like what's going on in my body. Like that's my biggest concern is like.
Sure. Yeah. No.
Is this something? Because for like just the wound, just the wound alone is like. Does this look good? Does this look bad? Is this look standard? Like I just need better care.
As I said, I honestly think that it takes time. I mean, it takes about a month or 2 months for this to heal.
And
the treatment you're on is the best treatment.
Yeah, I completely understand.
It's the best treatment.
I completely understand. The question I have is when everything in the last 3 days. I've seen significant hardening of, I don't know if it's my lymph nodes or what may be, and really the wound itself. Like,
okay,
did I lose you?
Okay, let me call you because this connection is bad. Let me call you.
Okay.
Let me call you.
All right.
But to be fair, he did say if I was worried, I could go to the ER, which they have no idea about leishmaniasis, or I can go to another infectious disease doctor in his network. And to be honest, at this moment, I was tired of speaking with people who were unaware of what the disease was and would just feed me maybe information that wasn't in my best interest. I was out of answers.
I did a Calgary Stampede campaign. I did the San Diego Zoo episode, Breakfast Burrito episode, a Visit San Diego campaign, the Tijuana Medical Tourism episode, and I went back east this summer to visit family, all while in incredible pain.
This is my sister, you guys. What are your thoughts?
I feel like one looks like a bullet wound that's infected, and the other looks like those monsters that have like teeth and the saliva that's just coming out and pus all over the place, just coming at you like this. It's so bad. Like it just makes me want to throw up when I look at it.
It's my big sister.
figuring it out.
I lost all confidence in the care I was getting and was desperate for a second opinion from someone with real experience with this crazy parasite. I emailed the CDC myself and asked for a list of doctors I could contact directly who are more familiar with treating leishmaniasis. Of the 8 people they recommended, 3 responded to my emails. 1 said that they no longer practice, 1 referred me to Stanford Medical, and the 3rd referred me to the NIH, the National Institute of Health in Washington, D.C. So I made the call myself. I can't stress enough how hard I had to fight for answers from knowledgeable professionals.
Speak to representative. Speak to representative. Speak to representative.
On the call with the NIH, they invited me to fly in for testing, and I quickly agreed because they weren't absolutely shocked by my case like everyone else was. They also told me that without knowing the species I had, that I should immediately stop taking the medicine I was originally prescribed. This takes us back to July 24th.
And hope that everything will be okay. I don't know if I just rambled that whole time, but hopefully you guys get the idea. I'll explain more soon. All right, I gotta go check in.
All right. Well, here's my special guest. This is my mother. Mom, thanks for coming on this endeavor with me.
Oh, definitely.
How do you feel?
I'm pretty tired right now, but excited.
Excited.
Very excited. I'd get up at any time to go do this.
We are heading out. It's the morning after the flight I just took in. Gonna grab some breakfast and head into the National Institute of Health. This is where I'll be doing all my testing all day today. I believe I have 5 appointments, and yeah, we're trying to figure things out.
Let's see what happens.
I should mention, one of the best things about coming here to the NIH, besides having a competent team and dedicated leishmaniasis treatment program, is that this is 100% funded by the government. They even pay for my flights and hotel. No co-pays or fees while I'm here, which is a much needed break. The day starts with a ton of blood samples.
14 vials of blood. Look at that. Testing all the things.
Then a professional photographer comes in and takes updated photos of both lesions. Next, it's a dermatologist appointment where they take another biopsy from the larger lesion to try and determine what species of leishmaniasis I have. After a quick lunch break, it's time to meet with my dedicated wound care specialist, who looks at the infection and helps me create a plan of attack for cleaning and covering the lesions. Basically, she tells me everything I should have been doing from the beginning. And lastly, I meet with the team of doctors for a very tough conversation about the real possibilities of this disease.
So that was, we just finished with the doctors, and that was difficult. We talked about different medications and treatment options, and being able to maybe spread it, which is very rare, but you know, doctors, they just like cover all their bases, and reproduction, and yeah, I'm just not out of the clear with everything, and as you can probably tell, that affects me. So it's a long day here, but I wanted to record this because this is real. Yeah, we keep moving.
After a full-on day at the NIH for testing, I fly back home to San Diego and wait for the results.
I'm gonna put this right on my refrigerator for a life update from my messy kitchen. Today is Friday. I don't know if I've been doing a good job of keeping track of all this, but today's Friday. I just got back from the NIH on Wednesday, and right now I just got off the phone with my doctor from the NIH, and he had the test results back in already on what species of leishmaniasis I have, which will essentially determine the correct treatment to get. And he said, which we were fearful of, that I have the Brazilian variant of leishmaniasis, which is a much more aggressive species. And so he recommended that I get back there for treatment as soon as possible. And on top of that, we find out that I do have a staph infection on the left leg, that open lesion on the bigger lesion on my left leg, and that we are fearful that it is MRSA, which I guess is a whole other beast. Yeah. So it just makes me think, like, what if I was just patient and I just waited like other people told me to do? Where would I be? You know, I can't think like that. All I can do is get packed up, because I'm going to head back and enter in the treatment program at NIH next week. And not a minute too soon, because the pain is a few days after. This is all of my medicine, and one is this honey, this medical grade honey, and I have to put it on the wound, and the pain is fucking excruciating. It hurts so bad. That's why I have that staph infection on top of it. So I'm taking doxycycline, but I'm still also covering up the wound. And for a good 25 minutes after I put this on, the pain goes all the way up my leg. It's like I'm being electrocuted. This is not fun.
The following Saturday, I'm back on a plane flying across the country again to officially begin a well-diagnosed and information-based treatment. 129 days after leaving the Amazon. More than 2 months after being diagnosed with leishmaniasis.
And we're back. This is now August 7th, and we're back at the day hospital here at the NIH. Mom is here with me. She is back, and we are said to be beginning treatment of the leishmaniasis today. All right, folks, here we go. This is my first bag of, what do we got? Amphotericin B. This is the first treatment, day 1, treatment 1, bag 1. And it's covered like that in a plastic bag because it's sensitive to light. How am I looking? Looking rough.
Here we go. The original plan was 6 treatments over 2 weeks. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. As long as my body could handle the infusion of this pretty intense medicine. And right away, we ran into some issues.
All right, just got some unfortunate news, but not terrible, unfortunate news from the doctor, saying that my kidneys aren't taking well to the amphotericin B, and so we got to hold off. So day 2 isn't really day 2. Wednesday is a pause, and we're going to try again on Friday. Hopefully my levels of creatine, I'm learning the word, will be better on Friday. So that pushes treatment back into another week. Unfortunate, but doesn't matter. We'll get there.
With the complications, we adjust the daily limits and stretch 6 treatments into 7 and just hope for the best.
Technically, this is day 2. I got my infusion here. Wednesday, August 16th, and this is bag number 4. Day 5 of 7. Hopefully everything is going well. We got our amphotericin B bag right there next to our saline as per usual. Kidneys were looking good today. We went Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Today is Friday, and the kidneys are intact, so that's huge. I just had the wound care specialist come and dress my wounds, and as I'm getting my amphotericin B being pumped into my veins, and that was the worst pain of my entire life, getting my wounds treated. It was like she was taking a box cutter and just scraping off paint on my legs like a straight razor, like she was shaving. Oh, I can't even think about it. Like shaving my wounds with a straight razor. That's how it felt. I just finished treatment 6 of 7, and we are 6 of 7 complete. The process has been draining, more mentally than physically, but the doctors are great and the team is great. Just on the day-to-day level, it can be a bit draining. Here we go, our last and final bag, August 23rd, Wednesday. This is 7 of 7, and the creatinine, my kidneys are looking good, and we are ready to go. And just like that, I shouldn't even say just like that, because it's been a process, but that's it. We are 7 of 7. Nora just came in and got my ass on. That's all right. Zona, you can come in. I'm just talking to myself. I was just celebrating my last one. It's official. So 7 of 7 complete. Mom's here.
Yay.
We are done, hopefully for good. Yeah, that is 7 of 7 complete at 12:15 on August 23rd, Wednesday, August 23rd. So now the begins. Oh, and there she. Yes, Norris, here's my
Try to be
co-brand.
colorful.
Yes. So now begins my wound care, and that means I need
And you have the
all
whiter ones too. So.
of these. Yes, you're the best. Thank you. All right, now begins the wound care. Here we go. The final checkout.
Okay, over some, yeah.
Thank you.
After all this time, you started
We got to work.
All right. It is now October 30th, and it's been about 2 months since I got back from the treatment program at the NIH. And just to wrap up the treatment itself, I was on the amphotericin B, which, interesting enough, this is a drug that many people in the past told me not to take because it would destroy my kidneys and it would attack my body and it's very toxic. And that's the drug we ended up going with. On top of that, I used a topical drug called imiquimod, which is actually used for some types of skin cancer as well. So the pain when the wound care specialist would come in each day, she was scrubbing off the wound itself and then rubbing the imiquimod on the open wound. And like I said, it was like she was taking a straight razor to the wound, but really she was only using a gauze cloth on that. So that was the most painful part of the whole process. And also, as it turns out, the staph infection that I had was not MRSA. It was just a regular staph infection. And so we used the doxycycline and also the cephalexin for the treatment of the staph infection. And we did that the week before I went back for treatment. So I think it worked. And now it's all about wound care. I change my wounds twice a day, and I'm actually using a medical grade honey. So they're these sheets of gauze that are soaked in medical grade honey, and I cut them out and put them over the wounds, and that's supposed to help with the debridement. It helps to suck out any bad stuff, and then I cover them up. I also wash them with a Vash wash as well. So it's all about wound care at the moment, and they've been shrinking very quickly until about the last week or so, and I just don't know if the scabs are coming off or they're closing quickly, but it's just so much uncertainty. So I think we're doing well. But I have an appointment in the middle of November for my 3-month checkup back in DC, so I will be on protocol for the next year. That's part of the treatment process, is they will monitor me for the next year to make sure that I don't have any reoccurring lesions. They're keeping an eye on my entire body and also especially my face, which is difficult because now I've never been a very paranoid person, and now anytime I have an ingrown hair, a zit, a stuffy nose, I think the worst. And so that's been kind of a mental battle. And that's one of the big questions I have. Is this actually curable? And it's said that after that course of a year, if I have no new lesions and everything else seems to be okay, it is said to be cured and the parasites are out of my body for good. But again, we don't know for sure. And in the meantime, I still can't do some of my favorite things. I haven't been able to play basketball in 6 months. I haven't been able to do any combat sports. I love Muay Thai and boxing and just got into jiu-jitsu. I haven't been able to do that. And no swimming until we're fully healed and the lesions are covered up. So that sucks. But I'm also very well aware that I am very, very lucky. I am now a member of a leishmaniasis advocacy group and support group with other people that have had it around the world. I actually found the group because I reached out to a woman named Pip Stewart who did a TED talk about her experience with leishmaniasis. She got it when she was kayaking through the Amazon, and she got something on her neck actually. So I reached out to her and she put me in a leishmaniasis group, which was incredibly helpful. I am so lucky to have been bitten in my legs. I could have been bitten anywhere. There was one woman, Jessie, in our group who is allowing me to share her photo. I shared it earlier in the video, but she got it directly on the tip of her nose. And there's other stories, especially when I was in the NIH, of other patients who had it all over their bodies, and especially, obviously, the mucosal and the visceral leishmaniasis as well that this could lead to. So I am very lucky, and especially you see things all over the world of everything going on. I consider myself very lucky, and it's just scary because if you don't have your health and you don't have your wellness, I mean, really nothing else matters. And the biggest thing was making sure I'm not contagious. And that's what got the best of me when we talked to the doctors at the NIH when I got pretty choked up is worrying about being contagious. And also, I want to have a family. I'd love to have 2 kids. And we had discussions about what the drugs could do, especially the first drug I was on, to my reproduction goals. So those 2 things really threw me off in this process. And the last thing I'll say is the biggest thing I learned from all of this is that you have to be your number one advocate. You can't take no for an answer. You can't. You have to find someone that you trust. I understand there is some value and some honor in having patience, but the truth is, when it comes to your health, you got to be aggressive and you got to sometimes bulldoze people to get answers, because no one's going to look out for you the way that you look out for you. Nobody. And that was the most concerning and most frustrating part of all this is I had to fight for my life. I had to fight to make things happen. I said it earlier, like I can't imagine if I would have just taken the first answer and just let it be that, because I would be in a very, very difficult spot right now. With the staph infection, with the growing of pain, I could have been in a very, very difficult position. And this is one of the main reasons why I did that Tijuana medical tourism video.
All right, so I have something to show you. But off the record, I want to know if you guys have heard of leishmaniasis.
Where did you go? Did you go to the southern part of Mexico? Yes, we've heard of this. Where did you go in Mexico?
No, in
Chiapas?
Ecuador, in Amazon.
So it's the same region.
Yeah.
Oh, and how about the diagnosis? Was it difficult to get it?
Very difficult. Nobody in San Diego knows what it is. I fly on Saturday to...
it's I mean, as a medical point of view, it's awesome to see that, because it's not
We're not happy you got it, okay?
Yeah. But I mean,
I was trying to find new answers, and I thought I would try to help people maybe going through the same thing and give you guys another idea of an alternative. And so that's why I created that video. It was in direct correlation of the medical problems that I am going through. And finally, what's next? Where do I go from here? So the first thing I did is I started a Patreon page. So I'm going to be doing updates and information, maybe some live videos over on Patreon. I don't want to turn this channel into a full-on medical channel. So if you guys want to follow along the journey, again, I go in a couple of weeks for my 3 months. I'll give an update over there. So
If you guys want to continue following along on my health journey with this leishmaniasis, Patreon is a good place to do that. Second, the goal next year is to get back into this Day in the Life series that I started and that I was so excited about at the beginning of this year. And in the meantime, I probably won't be traveling anywhere abroad until next year, till the end of the year. So I'm hoping to do some more food videos here in San Diego, which is kind of funny. It's like this big health issue, and then also, you know, go try some barbecue and some burritos. So I'm trying to do some fun, light things here locally to fill my time and also to continue to create content. And then, yeah, hopefully get back to the Day in the Life series and more travels next year. I'm going to try to do the Day in the Life of Bills Mafia, my favorite sports team, my favorite sports fan base, actually en route to the NIH. The goal is to stop there and do a fun episode with friends back home. It's exactly what my mental health needs at this moment, is just some good friend time. So that's it. I hope you guys found some sort of information from this video. It isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to be a reality. Wear bug spray, wear pants. It's very, very, very rare that you'll get what I had. I was very deep in the jungle, and my doctor said I was lucky to come back with only leishmaniasis based on where I told him I was. So if you guys, as I always preach to travel deeper, if you do so, make sure you're just, wearing pants, you're being prepared with bug spray, and that'll stop a lot of it. So I was not. I was, basically naked for a week in the jungle, and I got very unlucky. So that's the story. That's why I've been so quiet on socials over the last few months. This is the reason why. And I've been kind of keeping it secret from the public until I could get answers myself. So, yeah. Again, more information about all this, come on over to Patreon. I'll talk a lot more about it over there, so I won't clog this channel with my personal information. And also over on Gareth Eats, if you're interested in some just fun food videos, I'll be doing a lot of those from here in San Diego and Southern California until I can travel extensively again, hopefully next year. Yeah. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. See you soon for more fun adventures. And still, as always, travel deeper. Just be careful out there.